Revelation, verse by verse, the Day of Atonement, June 19. Caught up to God's throne. She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. Revelation 12, verse 5. How did the church, God's people, give birth to the Messiah? Jesus, a member of the Godhead, was to be born on earth in the likeness of men, Philippians 2, verse 7, from the lineage of Judah, Genesis 49, verse 10, the stem of Jesse, Isaiah 11, verse 1. In other words, Jesus was born a Jew, one of God's chosen people. Both Matthew 1 and Luke 3 reveal Jesus' Jewish genealogy. The identity of the child, Jesus, is made clear by the reference to this messianic psalm. You shall break them with a rod of iron. Psalm 2 verse 9. Also, recall that Christ quoted the same verse in Revelation 2 verse 27 to the church of Thyatira. This reference is no accident. Thyatira represents the church of the Dark Ages, the height of Rome's persecution of God's people. The imagery of Christ being caught up to God and his throne reminds us of Revelation 11, verse 12, when the two witnesses likewise ascended to heaven in 1798 at the end of that same period of papal persecution. Moreover, we have just learned that more than a millennium prior, Christ himself was persecuted by Rome too, though by the pagan state instead of the papacy. Why does the concept of persecution keep resurfacing, and by the same beast power? As we will soon see, the next chapter of Revelation prophesies one last period of persecution to come before the end of the world. Who do you think will be the persecutor? But as Christ said, let not your heart be troubled. John 14 verse 1. Today's scripture reassures us that Christ is the victor. It is Christ who will ultimately rule all nations, not the beast, not the dragon. It is Christ who defeated death and will defeat death once and for all. And it is because of Christ that we now have the pathway to overcome the persecutor and to sit with Christ on his throne. Revelation 3, verse 21. Jesus, we thank you for your life and sacrifice to save us. We celebrate your victory over Satan and look forward to a new earth. For further study, Isaiah 7, verse 14, Matthew 1, verse 25, 1 Chronicles 15, verses 20 to 28. Amen.